Part 5. The Friend. I unsteadily creep over to my giant slab of a door and stick an eye up to the peephole to find the stony features of Gabe Parr staring back at me. Right. Drinks at 9. Completely forgot. I can't imagine how. My head. With a little effort, I managed to work the deadbolts and heave the door open enough to admit the school guard. "Evening, Mike. You about ready to—" He stopped short on the threshold as he catches sight of my trashed features. "The hell happened to you, boy? You look like you either decided to challenge a billy goat to a headbutting contest or made a pass at my first wife. Same difference. You get in a fight or something? We need to go kick some butt?" No, Gabe. No fights. Well, I guess there was a fight, but that's not where he got these. The fight came later, and I kicked the heck out of those guys. Couple of junkies. Huh? Good. But then what in the blazes did you do to yourself? That's a pretty nasty gash you got on your noggin there. I was running the trails at school when it started raining. Slipped and took a header into a tree stump. It's fine. I shouldn't even need stitches. Hurts like hell, though. Beers are helping me with that. Gabe steps farther into the apartment, a single raised eyebrow, the only sign of his disapproval as he sees the heaping remains of tonight's binge littering the ground of my living room apartment. "Guess you went and started without me." "Sorry, it totally slipped my mind that we were going out." With the head injury and all. I'm pretty sure I should call off going out tonight, but you're more than welcome to hang here for a bit. You want a beer? There's plenty more in the fridge. I need another one, too. Here, I'll go get 'em. Now hang on there, Mike. Just hang on. I don't want a beer, and you sure don't need any more neither. Looks like you already drank enough for the both of us tonight anyway. He takes my arm, leading me back over towards my easy chair. "Why don't you take a seat over here, and I'll go rustle up a pot of coffee right quick and help you sober up some." "Yeah?" Hot anger flashes red across my eyes. I hate being patronized. "Well, how about screw you instead? What do you think about that, Gabe?" "I don't want to sober up." "It's my house, you piece of—" Gabe's grip on my arm becomes suddenly hard and painful. A dull gray steel slides over the normal sparkle of his eyes. "Mike, I'm going to stop you right there. You've obviously been through some stuff tonight, and I aim to talk to you about it in a bit and help you work through that. But I'm not going to let you be self-destructive about it. Now you got two options. You can either take a seat nicely and wait for me to make a cup, or I can put you in a seat and do the same thing. Same result, different way of getting there. You're smart enough to know which one will be less grief all round. Now, before you start getting ideas about trying to kick my butt too, you should probably consider something. You might be hot stuff with a couple of junkies like the pair you ran into tonight. Hell, you could probably maybe hang with me on a good day. But right now, in your condition, you really don't have much of a choice in the matter." I become aware that Gabe has put himself in a calculated position. He possesses all the leverage to make both our body weights work in his favor. So, what's it gonna be? As he applies the lightest bit of pressure to make sure he gets his point across, I feel how precariously overbalanced I am, even without the added effects of the alcohol. There's no doubt in my mind that Gabe could put me into the chair as easily as he says. Fine. I turn and slump into the chair sullenly. Jerk. A good choice. Now won't be a minute, then we can talk about what's got you in this state. You should probably think about what you're gonna say, 'cause I'll tell you, boy, I've both seen and participated in enough benders to know it wasn't getting whooped on by a tree or throwing down with a couple of punks that set this off. You just sit there and think about it. For the next couple of minutes, I sit in my chair, glaring venomously towards the kitchen as I hear Gabe clattering about. "Hey, Mike, where do you keep the coffee?" "Grounds are in the top shelf of the fridge. Filters on the cabinet above the pot," I answer grudgingly. "Got it, thanks." Finally, I sigh and inwardly concede defeat. It's obvious that Gabe isn't going anywhere and that I'm in no position to do anything about it. I settle back more comfortably into the chair and close my eyes, mentally trying to halt the room's slow spin. think about what I'm going to say. The man makes a good point. I need to figure out how I can successfully appease Gabe's annoyingly friendly concern without coming off sounding like a drug addict or a mental patient. Relating the events as I actually remember them occurring sure isn't going to cut it. I found that out the hard way 3 years ago. All telling the truth then got me was 6 months of psychiatric evaluations, a lifetime's worth of bad memories, and a truckload of self-doubt and loathing. Trying to tell Gabe that I had disembodied voices in my head, giving me instructions, and was subsequently attacked by a giant nightmare creature, a disturbingly creepy old man, and a couple of druggies would go over about as well as trying to throw him out, if less physically painful. Best case scenario, he just thinks I'm crazy, tells me to get help, and I lose a perfectly good friend. Worst, he assumes I'm strung out on something and hauls me down to the drunk tank at the police station to sober up. Gabe re-enters the living room, holding 2 steaming mugs, and hands me one. He pops open the camp chair I keep against the wall for company and positions himself across from me. Taking a sip, he grimaces. That's some terrible stuff. Now then, Mike, I believe you were going to regale me with some facts concerning your current disposition. I look at the man facing me, and an overwhelming feeling of helplessness wells up from deep inside my chest. There was a time I would have told Gabe everything, but I've been down that road before. Sharing my truth would only cause more pain, and I can't lose one of my only friends I still have. At the same time, although Gabe may talk like a hayseed country boy, he's savvy enough to spot if I try to lie outright. But maybe a part of the truth will be enough. I stare into the mug cradled in my hands. I almost killed a boy tonight, I said softly, almost whispering. The punks who jumped me, they were 16 if they were a day, and I almost killed one of them. Hell, I wanted to kill him, or at least a part of me did. I stopped them easily enough, had them beaten, but then my gun was to his head. And I thought, just for a second, how easy it would be, that I could get away with it, that it was maybe even the right thing to do. I look up, tears in my eyes. What I'm telling Gabe may not be the whole truth, but the emotions are real just the same. There's a darkness in me, Gabe. A darkness that I brought back with me from that cesspool in Iraq. At some point, it's going to get out, and it scares the heck out of me what might happen when it does. Gabe keeps his gaze fixed on me, a thoughtful look upon his face. You know what your problem is, right? He looks at me expectantly. PTSD, idiot. Gabe takes another sip of the horrible coffee and continues. Heck, Mike, that ain't nothing to be ashamed of. Hell, half of us grunts that come back in one piece on the surface got some kind of crap rattling loose up there. And who wouldn't? Not many folks have seen what we've seen, or felt what we felt. That gets my attention. Could Gabe possibly have experienced the same horrors as me? And what's that? I ask. He smiles. Why, combat, of course. The very real notion that another human being is doing their damnedest to make sure you don't come back alive. And on the flip side, that you snuffed out the potential of another person. Everything that could have ever been, gone in an instant by your hand. Mike, you remember how I told you about Billy dying? Well, there's a part of the story that I maybe sort of held back a little. Now, I didn't know you as well back then, but I do now. He shifts in the camp chair, pausing as if to collect his thoughts before continuing. I found him, Mike. I found that son of a gun that killed my boy. Wasn't hard. Went to a few places the cops are reluctant to go. Spread a little cash, a few butt kickings. Those freaking animals will sell out one of their own for almost nothing. Eventually, I talked to the right guy who graciously led me to the flop house my boy's killer was holed up in. When I found him, the little vermin was high or something. Laying there, he was in no position to do anything to stop me from what I was about to do to him. Hell, he was so far gone, he maybe didn't even know I was there. Had my pistol to his head, probably pretty similar to how you did tonight. And you know what I did? I shook my head. Not a goddamn thing. That monster that killed my boy in my hands, and I couldn't do it. I just couldn't, Mike. There are tears welling in the old NCO's eyes. a slight tremor in his voice. "And I'm going to tell you something, and you listen to me good. Wanting to kill someone, especially someone that's evil, that probably would do the same or worse to you if given even half the chance. That doesn't make you evil. Hell, Mike, that makes you human." He wipes the back of his hand across his eyes. "Billy dying had me torn up for a good long time. I thought maybe his killer getting the same might be what it took to bring me back around. But it wasn't. It was facing the anger, Mike, facing the rage and the fear. Letting it get bottled up inside only served to feed it." Gabe gets to his feet. "Now, I don't know specifically what you done or what you seen over there. Don't much really care either. Only thing I know is you gotta face it. Admit what happened to yourself, or it'll destroy you." He moves to the door and opens it, stopping halfway through. "I'm gonna go home, Mike, and I'm gonna leave you here. You're a grown man, and more incapable of deciding whether you want to keep going down this path," he indicates the pile of bottles, "or actually trying to get better. You're a good man, Mike, and I hate to see anything get in the way of that." My friend leaves. I sit there, staring into the space of my almost empty apartment for what seems like a long time. Finally, I make a decision. I get up and throw the bolts on the security door and set the alarm. I go to the kitchen, find the trash bag from under the sink, and clean up the remains of my evening. I throw out the sludge in the pot. Gabe is a man of many talents, but brewing coffee is definitely not one of them. I undress, get into bed, and lay there for a few long moments staring at the ceiling. If only Gabe. If only Gabe. If only it was another human being trying to kill me that I was worried about.